Maybe you should go and do some contemplating.
Right reasons, right reasons. Can't put a girl for all the right reasons. Right reasons, right reasons. Can't put a girl for all 4 reasons.
I'm the Bachelorette, and I'm rapping to your poolside. Here to find true love.
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy. Hey.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
Hi, this is Griffin McElroy.
And this is Rose Buddies.
So today's episode, we're going to talk about Season 3, Episode 6 of Boy Meets World. It's the new topic of this podcast, and we're doing kind of a change. I know you probably thought we were going to start with the pilot of the whole franchise. No, we're going to do it in media res. Anyway, Season 3, Episode 6.
I'm guessing
Topanga gets her first monthly.
Her first monthly?
Yeah.
Go into more detail on that.
Well, Rachel, nobody's really quite sure what causes this. Most scientists agree the moon. What
about Corey? How's Corey?
He gets his first monthly as well, but the boy version. Now I know you're curious.
Yeah, I am.
Have you seen the movie Junior starring Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Of course I have not.
Okay. I don't know why you didn't come prepared for this lecture then. This was a trying week, I would say, for anybody who is both a Bachelor fan and has good fucking sense in their skull.
Yeah, I found it difficult for several reasons, but mostly because it seems like the rat bags and piss kids are only becoming worse.
Yeah, like they're somehow, like I looked at that bag and I looked at that kid and I said, that's the most rats and piss you could fit in those 2 containers. But they find new ways to surprise me every week. And then sometimes the rats get in the piss and people come in and they piss on the rats. They do like a little, parfait. So this was a double week. First we had the Fantasy Suites date,
which is usually fun.
Which is usually pretty fun. This one was...
It's the cliffhanger.
Yeah, it was the resolution of the cliffhanger. And boy, we talked a lot of just straight jazz last week, huh? That ended up being completely wrong.
Why do we fall for it,
Why do we
Griffin?
keep falling for it?
We practically have advanced degrees in this franchise, and yet somehow...
Anyway, we had Fantasy Suites, and then today, just now, we just got finished watching the Boys Tell All, and they told all the things, and... it's just a lot of it was dedicated to the Chad show, and it was just.
And we knew it would be.
I know we would be, but we didn't. I didn't expect it to get the full blown fucking Ron Howard Hollywood treatment that Chad got.
Yeah, he got a lot of setup, a lot of props,
pre-roll. Okay. Anyway, let's dig into it because it's a meaty convo topic. I'm hang on the edge of the cliff last week. Ah, baby, I can't believe I have to hold on to this cliff for a full week. Help me up. Hand me a carabiner. Hand me a piton. Or python. Nobody's really sure how that word is said.
So the men stood quietly in that airplane hangar for a week.
For 7 days.
While we all waited for the episode to resume.
When it cut back, they all looked very pale, and all of them had pissed their pants. Of course, they just messed themselves.
They'd use all those fake suitcases and trunks around for
toilets.
For toilets.
So anyway, they had a little toilet prison that they were locked in.
So last week ended with JoJo having a meltdown out on the tarmac. This episode starts, Luke returns to the hangar.
After confessing his undying fucking cowboy love, which is the best kind of love that there is.
It's the best kind of love.
I give you 100% pure love from my heart every day, baby. We wake up and I do my little dedication to you every morning.
That's true.
But I will never be able to give you that good cowboy love that you deserve.
No, I was talking about the expressions that Luke has. I mean, he's definitely a stoic man.
I was going to say, you mean none?
But he has this kind of haunted seriousness that is a little hard to look at.
Yeah.
But also inspires such confidence that he's not going to mess with you.
There's a seriousness, but also an extreme reckless handsomeness that combined, he's he's not hard to look at in that, like, he's unpleasant. I mean, I don't know which features to really gaze upon.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's so much going on.
So we thought last week when JoJo tells us, the viewer, I've got to send Luke home, we thought, oh, there's no way they would show us that if it was going to happen. And so the rose ceremony starts. Jordan, first rose.
Which,
match.
by the way, I want to go back and watch all the rose ceremonies because I feel like
always Jordan?
I feel like it's like you remember that season of Burning Love where the woman was the Bachelorette, and every time they did a rose ceremony, she'd just be like, "Blaze, Blaze, come get." I feel like Jordan is the Blaze this season.
Yeah. Jordan, Robbie, which we were a little surprised about, I think, because we thought Robbie's ex might have topped the list of issues for her.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then it's down to Luke or Chase. I think.
Well, Chase, you've had a good run on the show, buddy.
Yeah, I think Fantasy Suites next week. We know things are hot and heavy with JoJo and Luke. Who does she want to bring to that fantasy suite? Turns out it's Chase.
Turns out she would rather have Chase in the fantasy suite. He's her fantasy baby. Not the guy who, like, she, like, feels up his all of his butt cheek meat, like, as often as she possibly can. I guess she's already had the fantasy suite, huh? Because she already bought the cow and got the milk and sell the cow. Boy, that cowboy love.
So she eliminates Luke. I am in San Antonio when this happens. Griffin is in Austin. He probably heard me from San Antonio yell no at
You
the top
probably
of
heard
my
me yell
lungs.
no, too. I was upset because, first of all, like, we were so desperately wrong.
Yeah.
We were so enormously, hugely wrong.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that you and we are now out of our fantasy league.
We are out of the running.
We had fucking Chad, Luke, and Jordan. How did we lose? This is a topsy-turvy ass season of The Bachelorette, starring JoJo Fletcher.
So JoJo is very, very upset to say goodbye to Luke. Just a lot of sobbing.
Luke is too, but it's hard to see. It's harder to see
Luke,
it.
you know. I mean, Luke is like, this is not supposed to be happening. I thought you wanted this too. I'm going to miss you.
Him saying this is not supposed to be happening, I wondered if there was like an element of like, no, you don't understand. This literally isn't supposed to be happening. There was we had a deal.
He says, I could have proposed today. And JoJo is upset, and she's like, what if this was a mistake? And I'm thinking, JoJo, you wouldn't have cried like this if you said goodbye to Chase.
And she doesn't, but okay.
So it's just like, I don't understand.
I don't understand how this season is wrapping up. I don't get it. If Luke is not the second place dude, like, I just felt like I understood this show.
Yeah.
To the point where I could know who the top 3 were going to be. Definitively.
Nothing about Luke changed. Luke was the same the whole time.
And last week we were talking about, like, it's crazy that they did this act of, she's going to send Luke home, because that would mean that, like, she's only sending the guy who said I love you last home. And that's like
Chase hadn't said it either.
That's a bonkers. I guess that's true. Yeah, really, really weird. I feel like I have no idea. I have no idea where the season's going to end up. If it actually does end up with her getting engaged to Jordan, I will be shocked. I will be shocked at the amount of brand building that went into the Jordan Rogers 2020 experience to have him then be relegated to the
winner of the show.
The winner's circle, which is a cool circle because it's also a toilet hole that you stand in and get flushed down the relevance sewers.
Well, that's not fair.
Is that fair?
I would say a lot of Bachelorette couples are still relevant.
For sure, definitely. Sean and Catherine, not counting them. Oh, dude, fucking Dez and Chris, yes, dude, for sure. And
Caitlin and Sean. Just everywhere all the time.
Dude, I was just reading about Sean's new...
he does fitness.
He's got a new brand of, like...
He does fitness stuff.
Fitness towels that he's invented. Yeah, I was just reading he did a really erudite interview on... No, dog.
Yeah.
When you win the show, it's fine. Like, you get married. Sometimes you get married and have a baby and you're in love and happy forever. And no shade, but you're not on that Nick V train of the second place
Nick
boy
V.
who's going to be on this show until he dies.
Yeah, who's just going to keep accidentally ending up on the show.
Anyway, we have
Thailand.
We have a lot of television show to talk about.
They go to Thailand, and they start off the Thailand adventure with Robbie. In a market, they're looking at foods.
Making yuck faces.
It starts raining, and so they go get foot massages.
That looked dope, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was ever Bachelor, which that would be a weird, like my life would have had to have taken some pretty weird twists and turns. But I think I would be like, all right, for this date, massages. And then people would be like, again, didn't you just take Susan on a massage date? Like, yeah, I did. This is important to me.
This one we're going to make sushi. Didn't you make
sushi? Yeah, shut up and play Pokemon with me while we get rubbed and eat sushi.
Which is actually, that's how Griffin and I spent our first 7 dates, I think.
That's true, because I'm a kindergartner.
We like sushi and massages.
Yeah.
One thing you'll see on these week post hometowns is that everybody debriefs their hometown and talks about how happy it made them, which is what Robbie does. And what all the guys do.
I don't remember anything about Robbie's.
They also talk about
family.
how Robbie's mom was the one who was like, hey, you should know the rumors.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember.
Because Robbie and JoJo debrief and say, I feel really good that we had that confrontation where we really worked some stuff out and it went so well.
Here's the thing about Robbie. He is very, very, very into JoJo. And he's very, very vocal about how into JoJo he is, more than Chase is capable of saying.
Yeah. And
far more than Jordan wants to say.
Exactly. Robbie is always making a case for himself. And even on this date, he's like, you should know that I'm honest because, for example, I told you I loved you way back when we were in Uruguay. Like, he's like saying, like, of course, look, I have proof that I'm an honest person because I said I love you way too early.
The first one.
Yeah. So then they do more kissing, it's raining, and then nighttime comes. Robbie shows up in white pants.
Uh-oh. Is that okay?
He wears white pants a lot, I've noticed.
Do you think he's just showing off, like, how clean he can be? I couldn't wear white pants. I would get, like, barbecue sauce on them somehow. Very fast. But I think there's boys that have, like, a certain skill that they just, like... You know how they say, like, you're supposed to put a napkin in your lap when you eat?
Uh-huh.
There's, like, people who do that, like, every time.
Yeah.
I'll do it if I'm at, like, a wedding or something like that. But who can remember to do it every time?
I mean, I usually do.
Yeah, right.
I do.
I would notice if I was dating one of Professor Xavier's gifted children.
I mean, it's not always... I don't have, like, a cloth napkin in my purse for all occasions.
Well, no.
Usually it's just a piece of paper towel.
That'd be gross if you just had some nasty rag in your purse that you used to mop up barbecue sauce and then put it back in the purse. Anyway, tell me about Robbie's fucking night moves. I would love to hear about that man's sexual exploits.
Well, JoJo and Robbie sit down, and JoJo starts off saying, this is the night that I told Ben that I was in love with him. Which I thought, like... That's
a weird commemoration.
Yeah. And then she's talking to him, and he pulls out a note that his dad, quote, snuck into his jeans.
Hold on, wait. Okay, I should mention, you were watching this by yourself in a hotel room in San Antonio. I was watching it with a big old rowdy group.
Yeah.
And for my friends, I picked up Indian food. I didn't really do anything. But I missed the part where he said his dad snuck a note in his jeans.
Yeah, he pulled it out of his pocket.
Okay, but please, we can't blow past this.
I know.
Was he wearing the jeans when his dad fucking Oliver Twist... like Fagan's boys, like pickpocketed him.
I think he said I didn't feel it or anything. Like, I think there was a suggestion that somehow the note ended up in his jeans without him knowing.
That's the best fucking little dad.
I wish at this point,
sneaky crime.
I wish at this point the Bachelorette somehow had footage of that.
Oh my god, release the tapes. Release the dad jeans
It's
invasion.
like night vision footage of him like sneaking through the hallway.
Frame by frame. He's like on the fucking ceiling with suction cups.
So Robbie has JoJo read the note, and the note says a number of things like, Robbie, I can tell you're in love with her. You know, don't get down about your ex.
You'll never see me coming.
Oh, and by the way, there's leftovers in the freezer if you're hungry tomorrow when you wake up.
I stole your wallet again. I'm sorry, but you've abandoned your ninjutsu training, and this is the only way I know how to punish you, son.
There's another note in your bedroom somewhere. You have 10 minutes to find it.
It'd be fucking great if Robbie was like, anyway, I'll go, let me pay for dinner. And he reaches down to his wallet pocket, and his dad had like snuck a smoke bomb into his white pants. This is embarrassing. My dad ninjutsu'd me again. I hate my assassin dad.
And so Robbie says, JoJo, you can keep this note. And anytime if you like doubt us or our connection, you can read this note and know that the person that knows me best could tell that I was in love with you. It's weird.
Bad gift. Weird and bad.
Weird and bad. They immediately go from that into the Chris Harrison invite into the fantasy suite.
Because nothing gets me lubed up more
I wish
than
he'd
knowing
reached into his pocket and he's like, wait, I have another note. And this one's from Chris Harrison.
Wow. People are just getting in my jeans fucking left and right.
And my jeans are so tight.
My jeans are very tight. But the pockets are really big. These are Jinkos that I had hemmed in significantly.
Did any other jean company make a large pocket jean? I feel like we give a lot of attention to Jinko.
I mean, there had to be Jinko knockoffs, right? There had to be like...
What were they called, do you think?
I mean, Levi probably had like the
circus tent?
the Levi's tent legs. And then there was the Oshkosh Bagosh elephant pants.
For kids.
For kids, yeah. But adults could have fun with them too. And then they also made like elephant pants sized.
What if it was like Oshkosh Badam? Because it's for adults and they didn't have to.
Fuck, these are big pants. You are going to be swimming in this romper.
So they decide to go to the fantasy suite. And Robbie starts calling her Joelle in his camera interviews.
This has happened a few times now. And only here in the postseason have people started to call you JoJo is a child's name. And I'm in love with you, so it's time to leave behind.
I'm really excited to spend more time and get to know Joelle, he tells the camera. Like, I've seen her vagina now, so I'm going to call her Joelle.
Is that how the transformation works?
That's what it seems like.
Okay.
And JoJo, who has sworn to us, the viewer, and to the camera that she's not going to say, I love you to any of the guys after what Ben put her through. So she tells Robbie, I do have strong feelings for you. And that's about as much as we get.
But she tells the camera she's in love with Robbie. Like,
yeah,
at this point, she says to the camera, I am ready to say that I am in love with Robbie.
Yes.
Which is buck wild. Robbie?
Yeah, I don't know how it happened.
Robert?
I think all I can gather is that he gives her that.
It's nothing against
sweet love.
It is nothing against Robbie. It is more of a knock against this show because when she told her Robbie's mom, it came out of fucking nowhere.
I know.
I think I'm in love with Robbie. What?
Yeah, when did that happen?
When? How? When did it happen? This is bonkers.
I mean, it's like, I think it's the power of suggestion, right? He said super early, hey, by the way, I'm in love with you. And then maybe just whispered it in her ear a little bit every day after that. Like, hey, by the way.
He used his ninjutsu training.
By the way, I'm in love with you.
Put a love veil over her eyes.
And at first she was probably like, oh, that's crazy. And then the second time she was like, that couldn't be.
Is it crazy?
And then the third day it was like, well, he seems pretty sincere. And then the fourth day it was like, maybe I'm in love with him.
Yeah. That's probably how it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Who was next up? Oh, they had they probably had a sexual evening.
Next morning, they're in bed, shoes on the table, there's plates of food.
Shoes are on the table?
Yeah, they do this thing sometimes where they show the Bachelorette's shoes as if to suggest she must have taken them off because they're the shoes from the day before.
Or that they got boned so hard that the
But
shoes went flying off in a
the
comical
shoes are
manner.
neatly on the end table. Robbie's shirtless. And yeah, that's the end of the date. She tells us the camera, that she's in love with Robbie, that she can't believe that she's in this position where she loves multiple guys, and that she has 3 guys that she's, quote, goo-goo gaga over.
Wait, so she specifically doesn't say she's in love with 3 guys. She says she's in love with multiple guys, but that she likes all the guys.
Yeah.
Which
Goo-goo
should have
gaga.
been enough to know that, sorry, Shaz. Because Jordan's not the goo-goo one. He's not the goo-goo doll. You are, Shaz. Next up
Jordan.
was Jordan.
Jordan meets JoJo at the shore, takes a boat, and they decide to go on a hike. A very, very sweaty.
Very sweaty.
Very sweaty hike.
Very moist.
A lot of stairs on
a lot
that
of
hike.
glistening and a lot of reflections of the skin.
They go up this big hike, and then they go down into a cave.
At this point, she has to put on a jacket because she's not, and again, no shade, but she says, I have to cover up my shoulders because I'm about to go into a temple. And you're also wearing kind of a bare midriff dealie, and it looks fantastic. Everything looks fantastic on you, JoJo, but I don't understand how that one thing is allowed and the other is not at the temple.
That's true, though. That's true with a lot of holy sites. When I went to the Vatican, I was wearing a sleeveless shirt, and a religious official looking man tapped me. I had to go into a gift shop and buy a shirt that said Chow Chow instead of Coca-Cola, so I could go into...
Is that what they call Coca-Cola in Italy?
No, it's just like a novelty shirt. It's supposed to look like Coca-Cola, but it says Chow Chow.
Man, I bet you
aroma.
that gift shop makes a killing, huh?
I know, yeah.
But what I was saying is you probably didn't put that shirt on and then roll up the belly of it so that your bare midriff was still showing, and then a cardinal saw you and was like, A-okay.
Yeah, I love that belly.
Now we're doing it.
And they couldn't kiss.
They could not kiss, and this happened a couple seasons ago. Maybe I want to say in Emily's season where they went to some.
I think it was more recent than Emily's
season. Yeah, maybe
season.
it was where they weren't allowed to smooch. Maybe Caitlin.
And she's like, "Oh, this is good. That we're not kissing because now we can really connect emotionally.
Now I can really put the screws to you without having to worry about getting smooched." And she does, man. I admire the fact that JoJo is just not letting up with Jordan Rogers every single time they have a date. It's yeah, but do you really say that? Because Ben told me all the right things too, and then he broke my heart. So really, I think this is just that.
Here's the thing I noticed. I don't know if you noticed this. So with Robbie, they didn't even talk about the upcoming week.
Yeah.
But with Jordan, she's like, so my family's going to be here. Next week my family's going to be in town. And he's like, oh, well, tell me about your family. And she talks about her family. She didn't do that with any of the other guys.
No, and she also asks Jordan something that she doesn't ask the other guys, which is, what do you see for this upcoming year? Yeah. Which is the fucking slowest, laziest little slow ball that she could have heaved and rolled even in his direction. And he says, I don't know. It depends on a lot of things. It could go any way, really.
Yeah, she's like, I've done long distance before. And, I know that you might have to travel a lot. And he's like, no, I don't have roots right now, which I think is good. Clearly not getting what she's trying to say. And then he's like, so, I could be wherever you need to be.
But it takes him so long to get there. I don't know. It's like, in a job interview, you wouldn't say, where do you see yourself in the next year?
I don't know.
Oh, God, I don't know. Who knows what tomorrow has in store, right? Carpe diem. La vie boheme.
Really don't like to commit to anything. Really like to keep all of my options open all the time.
Could walk out of here and an asteroid lands on me.
I've been thinking about designing a new wide pocket jean.
I've been thinking about these jeans, okay? Hear me out. They're like Jinkos, but you hem them in real tight. Has all the functionality of Jinkos, none of the flutter.
They're real wide everywhere except the ankle.
And so, I think there's a huge market for these. Sinbad and his fashion is really coming back in a big way.
It's like Sinbad pants, but in denim.
In denim, it's like a denim Sinbad pant, but something formal. It's like a formal denim Sinbad pant, and I think that's just what we're going to call the name of the company.
Nighttime.
Yes.
They go on a nighttime date, and this is when they have their big talk about the next year. JoJo says that she's nervous about his lifestyle. Jordan says he doesn't need a home base. And Jordan's like, hey, you know what? I want to spend my life with you. And that's when JoJo's like, well, that's what Ben said.
Yeah, I love it.
And JoJo's like, well, how do you know? And Jordan's like, well, how do you know? And she's like, no, I want to know how you know. And Jordan says, I have a feeling when I'm with you that I've never had before. And any number of other things. Just kind of saying,
why
this is different.
it's
I know. I'm a better person. I like you. That kind of thing.
It's so weird that she is like vetting him, right? She's not vetting the other boys.
No.
And if it was all...
Even I'm starting to think, I know that you don't trust him, but I don't even remember why anymore.
She
She just keeps saying, he seems too good to be true. And it's just like, well, wait, why don't you say that about Robbie?
It's because Robbie is so fast to dish out the I love you
Yeah.
stuff. And here's the thing why I think she trusts Robbie is because I think she very, 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 very badly wants to end up with Jordan Rogers, but is afraid that Jordan Rogers isn't like here for it. And I think this may go, and I'm not romantically invested in this season of The Bachelorette at all. I don't think none of this shit's cute. But I think the fact that she's vetting Jordan Rogers, I think it takes it like one step past kayfabe, where it's not just like them, telling the story for the show. Like she's asking questions that you would genuinely really like to know the answer to before you get engaged to somebody that you might actually really like. And
that's the process, right? Like there's such a time sensitive pressure to it that she's like, hey man, it's real soon now.
Yeah,
like,
but she's not doing that to the other guys.
No.
So like, she doesn't give a shit what the answer to that question is for the other guys. You know what I'm saying? Which makes you think like either she would treat Jordan the same way that she treats Robbie and not get into like the logistics of life and stuff like that. And then like they get engaged and who gives a shit what happens after that. But the fact that she is like asking those questions makes me think like, I think JoJo actually likes Jordan a lot and it's kind of probing him to see like if he's down to clown IRL outside of the fiction of this television show. Yeah.
So they go to the fantasy suite. JoJo tells us that she's also in love with Jordan. And then the next morning, same kind of thing, breakfast, Jordan's not wearing a shirt. And then Jordan tells the camera something like, got everything I wanted or something.
That was so bad. He didn't tell the camera that. Worse. JoJo says, did you enjoy last night? And he says, I feel like I got everything I wanted. Which in the room I was watching it, and I was sitting next to Chris, and Chris was like, that is the most selfish thing I've ever... Did you enjoy our sex experience that we had last night? I mean, I got everything I wanted, so yes. Did you enjoy our first night that we ever had together as a couple privately without cameras being on us? Like ever in the history of our lives? I mean, I came, so sure, I definitely did.
Oh.
He maybe didn't come, but like, come on. That answer is so selfish.
Maybe.
Worked for the Joe-Ro.
Maybe what he meant was like, I got the time that I wanted with you. I got every time that I had wanted.
All 3 minutes of, it's just like, that
doesn't have to be awful, I don't think.
It's a really busted, even if the intent was good, the way he said it was the most busted shit ever.
And the fact that they like showed us that as the viewer makes me think that they recognize that too.
Yeah.
So, Jojo says, gosh, I'm in love with 2 guys. Could it maybe be 3 guys? And then we go to Chase.
Which is really how you want to approach any romantic encounter, is with the mindset of, let's see if we can't make this a hat trick. Let's see if I can't make myself fall in love with a 3rd man
That's what's
tonight.
so weird about Chase, and what makes the whole situation so confusing is that it doesn't seem like she's in love with Chase, but she's really open to
Ooh,
the
I'd love to
possibility.
be. That sentiment has been said on both sides of the aisle a lot this season of, I really wanted to be in love with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've already said you're in love with 2 guys. Why would you want to be in love with 3 guys? That's going to make your job much harder, but not only that, like, you know what it's like to be in the losing end of that situation.
Yeah.
From the last season of the show.
Yeah, like usually there'll be a thing where the Bachelor or Bachelorette will say, you know, we just haven't come along as fast as my other relationships.
Yeah.
Usually that'll be a reason. Like, not like I was waiting and waiting and waiting to fall in love with you, but like I recognize I'm further along with other people. I'm going to say goodbye.
I love other people more, not I wish I had loved you more,
Yeah.
but I don't know how that, like, how do you do that? That's such a weird way of thinking about human connection.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like reality show love, but like, man, I really wish we were better friends. It's
It's a weird way to break up with somebody. Just like, you know,
you must have fucked up somewhere because I wanted it real bad.
We went out to dinner a few times and we saw a couple movies and, you know, we spent the night and I tried to fall in love with you every single time.
And she said, like, what's wrong with me that I didn't fall in... Nothing. You're not insufficient in some way. Anyway, what's up with Chase? Hope we haven't spoiled what's going on with old Shaw's on this episode.
Shows up on a motorcycle. They go to a fish market, and all of a sudden,
Okay.
Shaw's.
I'm calling him Shaw's because he's not Chase anymore.
He's, quote, extra playful.
He's ecstasy. He's on ecstasy. I'm not kidding. Chase was on, like, mescaline or
I hadn't
something.
seen this man smile or laugh at all the entire season, and now all of a sudden he is just going for it.
Hop on my scooter. Did you see that monkey? He's trying to
doing
drink the 7-Up.
little puppet routines with the fish, and they're excited about monkeys, and Chase is he's giddy. He's just he's giddy man,
and it's unsettling. It's really, really genuinely very strange to watch this guy. Like, if he had this much personality, like the entire... I can't even envision what that would have been like. That would have been really rough to watch.
I got like a real Keanu Reeves, Bill and Ted's vibe. That's
a really good way of putting it.
It didn't necessarily feel like this is a side of Chase we haven't gotten to see. It was more like I have adopted the persona of somebody that has fun.
It was really, really, really weird.
This is what a person that has fun is like.
I don't want to be mean to Shaw's. It's just like,
no.
It's just like, you can't, for 8 weeks or however long, have this like fairly dry personality, and then like in your swan song, in your final hour, be like weirdly bubbly. Like, man, it was bizarre.
Yeah. So they have a kind of a beach date. They go in the ocean, they sit in the sand, and then they break up. This is something you see a lot on the one-on-ones, is there's a daytime and a nighttime. And so in between the daytime and the nighttime, they go back to their respective rooms and change.
He cracks open another vial of whatever.
And while JoJo's in her room getting ready for the nighttime date, Robbie shows up.
Oh, Robbie.
Says he's missed her and that he's thinking about her. And then he says, quote, country clubs and coloring books.
What does that mean?
I think it's something they talked about, their future together. Of just
That's a
like
shit future.
What they wanted, that he's ready to get down on one knee and that he wants it to be all country clubs and coloring books.
Is that different from paper airplanes and blueberries? I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like something really white
Does that
people
mean
say.
you just want to be a super rich, super white couple with an artistic child? Or is it an adult coloring book that you're going to fill out while staying at a country club? That's a really weird
I don't know.
thing.
We don't get any
totally-
context. But
I completely missed it. So now you're catching this first wave of anger from me,
Yeah.
hearing this dumb thing.
yeah, he's reminding her, I love you. I see a future together. I think about our kids and our exclusive membership to a country club that we'll have.
And also
Coloring.
we're going to color or something. I don't know.
And so JoJo's like, hey, thanks for stopping by. And that's kind of
And he-
Robbie's moment.
He throws his grappling hook up the chimney and zips away.
I'm
I'm obsessed with this idea, by the way, that Robbie's family are all like ninja assassins.
And then JoJo looks down and all of a sudden, like,
Her pants are just full of notes. What the fuck? There's like 18 notes in my pants.
he fit a coloring book in
He
my
fit
pocket.
a coloring book. This is so weird.
Suddenly I'm a member of a country club.
There's a
When did this-
contract in my jeans. I own a timeshare at a country club.
a timeshare at a country club?
I didn't even know that was possible.
So then we go back to Chase State. It's nighttime. It's dinner. Chase says, hey, after today, I had a really good time with you. They do the fantasy suite card. They're both on board. They get back to the fantasy suite. Chase says, hey, I just want you to know that I've been scared this whole time. And I want to say that I'm 100% in love with you. And I know the burden that sentence carries, but I do love you. Which I wrote down because that's a very common way of phrasing that.
Yeah.
And JoJo starts to get very, very nervous, excuses herself, and then goes and sits out, like, just out of eye line of him, and just gets really nervous and upset.
Just centers herself.
She's like, I got this, quote, overwhelming feeling of doubt right after he said it.
Has there ever been a situation where somebody said, I love you, and then the other person left for a grip,
Yeah.
and then they came back in and was like, I love you too.
I know. How great would that have been?
I'm glad that you gave me that moment to really compose myself. I was so excited by your proclamation, and I was trying to think of nah, dog, that ain't,
No.
nah, Shaw's. She comes
When
back
we're
and-
looking, the camera is set up so that we can see JoJo having her panic. And like over her shoulder back, we can see Chase behind the screen door sitting in the room, just like,
putting some weird dropper on his tongue, just re-upping, just a buffer for what's about to.
Griffin.
No, yeah, she comes back in and breaks it off, says I don't feel the same way, and I
needed to take a moment, and when you said that, I just didn't feel the way I expected to feel. It's like the same thing that she told like Luke and James
Alex
Taylor and Alex.
This
like,
has happened a few times now.
Tell me you're in love with me. Oh wait, I don't love you.
It's like an even more brutal Axeman method. Where the Axeman would at least cut you off before you got.
Yeah, like Kayla. The day Kayla was going to profess her love, she's like,
he was like, nope.
Ready to do it.
But I'm like, no. I just want you to axed. She doesn't give him that level of civility. Just like, yes, give me the love.
no.
I will use it as a whetstone against my blade. Axed. I'm just saying, she learned from the best.
Well, but she didn't though, because she did it wrong.
No, I mean, she's doing it right for her.
Oh, okay. So Chase is immediately upset.
He's incredulous.
He just says, oh my God, I just said I love you, and now I'm skewered. So now love equals get the fuck out, and you didn't give it a chance.
And JoJo's response to that is like, she is also kind of incredulous. Like when he says, when he says that specific line about, so now love means get the fuck out, she's like, Chase, like, no, dog, like, that's not, there's a weird, like, battle of the, not guilt trip or whatever, but like, neither of them handle this energy especially well.
He tries to walk out, at that point, and she chases him. Oh, yeah. She chases Chase, and he's like, none of this makes sense.
Holy shit. I'm sorry, I was thinking about verbs. Robbie's name literally is like, he's like a stealthy little robber.
And Chase gets chased.
And Chase gets chased, and Jord.
Keep going. This is good. This is good.
Joe.
Yeah.
He.
And then Luke.
Luke, he, you would say like, oh, Luke, it's Luke. Like, look.
Because he always has that look on his face.
Yeah, he has always got that Luke on his
And George.
Dan.
So Chase is really upset. And
The Robbie one is really good, though. Like,
that was really
what are we going to
good.
name our stealth assassin son? Well, he's Thiefo? No. Robbie? There it is. Stealins? Robby Stealins is my name.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
Robby Stealins for next Bachelor.
So, so Chase is really upset. JoJo doesn't want him to leave upset. He mysteriously has a beer suddenly in his hand.
That was great.
He opens it as he's getting into a van, says, "Guess this is my fantasy suite."
And then he jerks off right there. And it's the weirdest part of the whole episode.
Griffin, no, he doesn't. He does say that, I can't believe I just said I love you. It's like pulling your pants down and getting kicked in the nuts.
And then he said, that gives me a great idea. I'm Chase Pursuins.
Oh, God.
Now watch me go. And then he sings Fantasy by Mariah Carey to himself while he masturbates while drinking a beer in the back of a car in Thailand. And that's legal. It's all open container, like totally cool. So don't even worry about it.
Okay. So now it's rose ceremony time. And we think, and or know, that it's just going to be Jordan and Robbie. And JoJo also thinks that. And says, well, but the roses still have to be accepted, so I'm going to do the ceremony. And she starts telling Jordan and Robbie, like, it's just you two. I sent Chris home. And then Chris
doesn't do anything. Of course, as is his custom this season and the past four seasons.
He does show up. He does kind of welcome the guys to the rose ceremony. And one thing I thought was funny is Chris talks to Jordan and says, Jordan, how you doing? And Jordan's like, oh, I'm really confident now because of our alone time. And Robbie says, yeah, it was really good to have some time off camera, just to fall more in love with her. And Chris says, oh, you're in love. I just think, hey, Chris, welcome to the party.
Hey, bud.
Robbie's been in love for like a month.
Where
have you been?
Anyway, Shaw shows up. And this was the Shaws that like I'm more accustomed to seeing. Very low key.
Well, the dudes, it was interesting to see Jordan and Robbie because at this point their reaction was just kind of like exasperated, but in this kind of defeated way.
I expected this.
Yeah, this is the show. So Chase just wants to say, hey, I feel bad the way we left. I admire you. I'm not mad at you. And I didn't want it to end that way. My heart's still open for you. And I wanted you to know that. And she's like, hey, thanks, more or less. And then he gets up and walks away again and a monkey follows him, which I thought was fun.
It was a very sad little scene.
And then she just jumps right back into the rose ceremony.
Flings those roses. And
says Jordan's name first again.
Yeah, has to.
And then Robbie's name. And
Jordan, then Robbie, huh?
Everybody's real sweaty.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some more monkey shots. And that's the end of the episode.
Monkey shots should be the name of this season. Just because it's all, even when the monkeys weren't involved, it was just all monkey shots, right?
I don't know. There's something metaphoric in what you're saying that I don't get.
It's fine. That's what metaphors are for. You don't have to really define them. They don't have to mean anything.
Pigs in the castle.
Pigs in the castle. Haze in the barn.
Mm-hmm. What's the one we learned tonight?
It was so dumb. I've tried to forget it from my brain. Please don't. Please.
Sometimes you choose apples when you should have chose pickles.
That was actually, yeah. So anyway, that was that. And then there was a teaser for next week's episode, which let's not get into it. Let's let some magic still be in it. Got checked because like we're about to go into Min Tell All. So like this was really the substantial story development part of the season. Like I just don't know where it's going. I don't know that I don't really care. I don't think about this finale. I mean, I do care in the sense that like I really don't think Jordan's going to get it. And it would be weird if he did. But
Yeah, I'm already thinking next Bachelor, honestly. Like, I'm thinking, is it Luke? That would be weird television. Like, obviously,
It would not-
they built him up so much. But then I remembered they built up Kayla, too, and then pulled her out when they found another more exciting Bachelorette.
I mean, I said this a while ago. I don't think Luke would be in it. I like Luke a lot. I don't think he'd be in
Maybe it'll be
especially good-
Robbie.
Oh God, I feel like I don't know anything about Robbie except he's very, very into JoJo. I really don't, and that he
Well, and then the
broke
X
all his
drama.
That's like
Yeah.
it. That's not a lot to go on.
No.
JoJo like revealed herself to be like a very emphatic and like pleasant person in the last like back half of Ben's season. I don't think that any other dude really had that going for him, except Jordan, who's like been kind of pleasant the whole time.
Unless they pull a Juan Pablo season and they go way back in the roster
Yeah, I mean,
and pick
who's-
somebody like Wells.
Wells is like the only guy like I really find enjoyable and unique enough to like have an interesting narrative in their season other than like I am handsome and that's like it. Is Wells as beloved nationwide as he is in like the hardcore Bachelor watching?
I think he is.
Okay.
I think he is. He's got this Snapchat account where he does little recaps of the episodes.
But he's on BIP, right? In Wells on BIP?
I think so, yeah,
That's
which
the
is
kiss of
usually the
death.
kiss of death.
Okay, so anyway, let's talk about this Men Tell All, because
Men-
fuck, it was so gnarly for most of it.
Men tell all. Here's what we know going in. We know there's going to be a lot of Chad. Like, we know that's going to happen. What we don't expect is what happens, which is before the Men Tell All even starts, we see Chad all in black, whistling, walking out of a black car into what they've set up to appear as his own private trailer with a star on it that says Chad.
They fucking like canonize him. Like they give him, he gets a cut scene
Yeah.
that's like supposed to make him look like this larger than life character. And like, we're going to get into this real hot and heavy, but like, I get that they're trying to make a television show and they need big characters on this television show. And Chad was a very, very big character on this television show, but he's also a genuinely like this is me outside of like Bachelor critic, like storyline critic Griffin. He's a really shitty dude.
Yeah.
With like genuinely harmful elements about him that ABC was not only like allowing to blossom in this Men Tell All, they fucking like celebrated it and encouraged it and made sure that like there were plenty of opportunities for this shit to go down. Anyway.
Yeah, they cut. So the Men Tell All, just as a reminder for those of you that don't watch the show, they bring back all the cast-offs and give them an opportunity to ask questions of JoJo, to rehash or get closure on any outstanding conflict. And there's a live audience.
Yes. And inevitably somebody in that live audience is going to stand up and interrupt things.
Yeah.
That happened this time too. But Chad got this like superstar treatment that was so fucking gross because like at the end of the day, he is like a kind of, at the very least, emotionally abusive person.
Every time I watch him, I just turn to Griffin and I say, what happened to Chad?
What happened to you to have
Chad
that?
seems to be modeling a type of behavior that could only be learned. Like, he must have had somebody in his life that was just awful. That's all I can think.
This isn't like... it's so weird, because talking about him like this, I feel like is only serving to, like, build the Chad character brand of, oh, he's such a bad boy. I don't think he's TV's bad boy. I think he's, like, a genuinely shitty, abusive dude that ended up on a television show, and then...
He's not like Sawyer from Lost, who's, like, sketchy guy with a heart of gold.
No, he's just like a provocateur made manifest. And like the garbage shit he does has extended well beyond the confines of the television show to further like build his brand as like a villain. Yeah. It's weird. Like there have been purposeful villains on this show before, and then they get kicked off the show and you never hear from them again. That hasn't, unless they end up in BIP or whatever. That hasn't been the case with Chad, who's gone on to do like heinous shit.
Yeah, he seems to actively work at continuing to be awful.
And that's like his character.
Yeah.
And it's such a like it's the wildest, most transparent double standard in that like he calls out, and he does it during this Men Tell All, he like calls out everybody for being there for being fake. Like, oh, this guy's a radio DJ, this guy was an entertainment crew, this guy's all these people are here for other reasons where they have like these brands they're trying to build. Fuck off, dude. You are Bachelor villain Chad.
Mm-hmm.
You're very good at being Bachelor villain Chad, but don't fucking pretend like that's not why you're here and what you're doing outside of the show.
Yeah.
You're still on, like, you're on Twitter and Instagram building the Bachelor villain Chad brand. Mm-hmm. Boy, that's a stable industry if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. So they show a montage of all the different conflicts. Of course, the stuff with Chad, stuff with Alex, Derek.
The non-Chad conflicts, I forgot how hard those were to stomach, because some of them were like Clowntown baby
They
shoes.
kind of start out with Alex, because Alex at first has a lot of issues with Chad, and then suddenly he has a lot of issues with Derek. He just seems to kind of keep finding fights, at which point Wells kind of succinctly says, Alex is a veteran. He seems to feel the most comfortable in conflict. And it's more a reflection of his experience in the military. Santa Claus Nick confronts Wells and says, oh, you're saying that Alex feels the most comfortable in conflict. How is that any different than Chad? Which I thought was kind of an interesting point, is that Alex and Chad do have a lot of similarities.
And Luke. There were 3 veterans on this season.
Yeah.
Maybe more, I think.
Well, not the fact that they were veterans, but the fact that Alex and Chad both were constantly in conflict with somebody in the house over something.
Yeah, except Alex's wasn't as assertive. Like, Alex you saw it in his last episode that he was on when he gets like the double rose with oh my god, I can't believe I forgot the folk singer's name.
James Taylor.
And he gets the double rose with James Taylor. He's like, fuck it, I shouldn't be here. This is a pity rose. She doesn't want me here, but whatever. Like, he didn't say I'm gonna cut their arms and legs off and throw their torsos in the pool.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm not saying that Alex is as bad as Chad. I just think that there were a lot of similarities there.
Alex was definitely the most confrontational person in the house other than Chad.
Yeah. And one thing that Luke says in response to all of that is he's like, yeah, I've seen a lot of people in the military that can react certain ways in conflict and just become very responsive. And he's like, but as you get more maturity, you can make a choice on how you proceed, which just kind of, again, draws distinction between Luke and the other guys. Like, Luke was just very much like,
just chill, man.
Like, hey, I'm an adult, and this stuff you guys are doing doesn't make any sense to me.
I bet that probably fed into him thinking he was a front runner as well, and fed into his shock that he got 4th place. Because for the most part, he did stay above the baby town shit that every other guy in the house got into.
Yeah. So then the guys start talking about Chad again. Daniel's saying everyone's too insecure. Evan talks about steroids again. Ali says, we really did all kind of gang up on Chad. And Grant's like, oh, well, clearly there's a problem if everybody's against one person. And then Wells finally says, we're not going to keep talking about Chad when he's not on the stage.
Wells, God, Wells is the voice of reason.
Yeah.
The only person saying... Actually, JoJo had a really, 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 really good way of dealing with Chad.
she has a good moment. So Chad comes out.
Literally an hour and 5 minutes of this 2-hour-long episode is all people talking about
at least.
Chad. At least, maybe more.
So Chad comes out on stage, and immediately they talk about the fact that Chad has been seen and communicating with both Grant and Robbie's exes.
And he tries to play it so cool.
It's like, yeah, we're just talking. They're just nice ladies.
they're nice ladies, and
I just feel like they were treated poorly, and I just wanted them to know we weren't all bad.
both of them got left by somebody to be on the show, and I just wanted to come and say, all of us on the show, we're not bad guys. Hey, that's a fucking crazy motive.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend's dumped you to go be on this television show, so I wanted to come and tell you that all of the people in this television show aren't that bad. That's a really important lesson for them to learn, Chad. What the fuck are you talking about, dog?
Yeah, it's super strange. Like, I'm a missionary for the...
I'm a missionary for the Bachelor men.
For the heartbroken exes. Yeah.
For these 20 men that I fucking despise.
Yeah. So then Nick B stands up and tries to... He, like, takes off his shirt and tries to challenge Chad to get in a fight.
Which is just embarrassing. That's not how you do it.
And Daniel makes this joke, like, this is how we settle things in America, I guess. Which I thought was funny. Just like violence. It's always violence with you Americans.
I'm excited for Daniel to get a chance to shine and bip.
I know.
I feel like that fool is I mean, don't get me wrong. He's the Zodiac killer.
Yeah, he totally is.
But I think he's got some fun. He's got some fun.
Yeah,
moments.
he doesn't seem evil to me.
I mean, he definitely is the Zodiac killer, and he's definitely killed. But
sure.
and
so Chris Harrison kind of diffuses that thing, like, we're not going to let you two fight on stage here.
Because that's the thing. You came at Chad. You were never going to fight Chad. You were like, oh, you're all empty threats, Chad. So here's an empty threat. And then Chad said, we're just both wearing dress shoes. We're going to fall over. It'll be embarrassing. And the audience laughed. Good work. You just fed into the Chad monster.
Exactly. So Chad runs through very quickly in his interview with Chris Harrison just a litany of things that he thinks are true. First, he thinks JoJo ditched him because she recognized that she couldn't look good by keeping him, that he looked so bad she wanted to get rid of him so she could continue to look good.
That the other boys poisoned her mind.
He says that he thinks Jordan just wants to be famous. And that in conversations with Robbie's ex, Robbie has apparently threatened his ex and said, you can't talk to anybody about anything.
Or else I'll come get you, he said.
Yeah.
In a weirdly
and everybody's like, okay,
way.
yeah, you just
And everybody's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a special commendation. Can I give it a little gold star?
Yeah.
I'm going to give a big gold star to Grant. Because, like, Grant was one of he apparently had been seeing Grant's ex, and Grant did not rise to this. Robbie wasn't there, right? Robbie is one of the final two, so he was not at the Men Tell All. Grant was there with this dude talking about how he had basically hooked up with his ex, and what a great woman she is, and how Grant, like, a very real goading, right? That is like, goes way, 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 way beyond this television show they were both on. Grant, fucking cool as a cucumber. Gold star.
Yeah, he just reacts enough to let us know that he thinks this guy is ridiculous. And but he doesn't, for example, remove his shirt and challenge him to a fight.
Even when the guy's like, Grant, how long did you guys date again? Grant, fucking cool as a cucumber, didn't even go for it. Grant, gold star, 2 gold stars, my man.
And then while Chad's still on stage, there's this weird JFK moment where they're like, hey, roll the tape of when you ripped Evan's shirt and you said that Evan pushed you and that was why you ripped his shirt. And so we watch this tape first in real time and then in slow motion to identify whether or not Evan pushed Chad.
And Evan gets really weird.
Evan's like, roll it again.
Roll it again. Back and to the left.
One more time.
It does. It's so, I don't want to fucking talk. It's so stupid. Like, he looks like he's really forcefully trying to wiggle his way past Chad, and then Chad fucking chokes him while he's hugging a woman. Like,
yeah.
But the audience is like so on Chad's side. Like, there are people wearing Chad t-shirts.
Yeah. There are people wearing Chad-chiller.
And I want to like interview them like, yeah, remember when he threatened to murder a man? Oh, I love this card. What a wacky. Remember when he threatened to, after the television show was done film, he threatened to murder a person? I fucking love this guy.
I think because Chad has said some things that are funny, like he has a sense of humor. People think maybe he's like a wrestling character of just like Chad just loves being the villain. He's entertaining us. they detach somehow and think that he's just really playing this fun character for us as the viewer, and we're so grateful for the fun that we have when we watch him.
But like Bray Wyatt doesn't talk to the New Day and it's like, haha, yeah, guys, when we're done shooting WWE stuff, I'm going to come to your houses and kill all of you.
Yeah.
That's like-
no, the veins don't come out of Bray Wyatt's neck when he
threatens to convert them to his weird swamp cult. That's like that's as bad as he gets.
So Chris asks Chad, does he have any regrets? Chad says, no, 99% of it I don't regret.
He says, do you not regret saying you were going to kill Jordan Rogers? And he's like, I said, I didn't say what I was going to do when I found him. Maybe I'd give him some candy. And the audience laughed. Like, the funny thing, we have to talk about his humor, because we definitely, like, bought into it in the early days. And it definitely, oh my God, it escalated so very, very, very quickly. Where, like, the first episode where it started to surface, it was like, this guy's really talking truth. And then the next episode, he was, like, choking dudes and being a piece of shit. I feel it like really abusive people, like the most dangerous abusive people, are likable.
Oh, for sure.
Because if he was just like a raging asshole with no redeemable qualities, and he was just this white hot ball of rage that wasn't capable of saying funny shit from time to time, like nobody would be talking about him.
He tries to wrap it up in charm. I mean, that's why part of me couldn't help but think, like, was this man raised by somebody who consistently did something awful and then kind of said something relatable, and so you just kind of made excuses over and over again forever until suddenly you realize, like, oh, this guy's a monster.
And that's what's so fucked up about Chad. And what's so, like, harmful about Chad is that the reason why he became this character that, like, people talked about, including us and including, like, everybody who's talked about this season of Bachelor. Yeah. This has been the season of Chad. And the reason that Chad has been so, like, the reason everybody's talking about Chad is because he is this, like, aggressive, violent piece of shit that is also, like, a funny dude. And
which is not usually what the show deals in, right? Like, the show, when they create a villain, they're just like a full-blown 100% evil, bad acting. Not like, oh, they're a villain with some good points.
But the thing that makes abusers so dangerous is what made people buy into the Chad phenomenon so much. And that's like scary. And that's really
totally scary.
That's very, very bad. Like on a broad media consumption habits level, like the what that says about us is very not good. It's wicked bad.
Yeah, it's like the most dangerous thing about reality television, in a way. It's just that people's behavior gets turned into amusement, but it's actually legitimately gross behavior.
Everything that happens on TV legitimizes something, right?
Yeah.
And this is legitimizing a real type of person who is abusive, and there are people out there in the world who are like Chad that will charm the pants off you and say all kinds of funny stuff and then be fucking monsters and get away with it.
Yeah.
And like the Chad stuff has only legitimized that in a really super duper harmful way. And then to watch fucking ABC and the producers of The Bachelor parade it around and celebrate it in this men tell all, and most of the season of this show is like ghoulish.
Wait, now are we talking about Chad or are we talking about Donald Trump?
Hey. We have fun here, folks. We don't have a lot of fun, though, because this was a really, really rough week.
So Wells, ever the voice of reason, says, hey, Chad, I really do feel sorry for you in the way that we ganged up on you and turned it into a real Lord of the Flies situation. I hope you take this opportunity to get redemption in paradise this summer, which I can't imagine he does.
No, I don't. Although I did see a commercial for Bachelor in Paradise. Did you see this commercial for the pairing that Chad ends up with?
Oh yeah, it's Lace.
What the fuck?
It's poor Lace.
Lace, no.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. Maybe that's one day,
I am like, he's going to cast a very dark cloud over the Bachelor in Paradise experience. I don't want him there.
Well, he'll go home.
I hope he goes home.
They have to give out roses every day or every
This is the kind of shit, like, this is on par with the Caitlyn slut shame season, where I was like, ooh, boy, kind of getting harder and harder to justify watching this show and doing a podcast about it because it can be kind of gross sometimes. This is like that. This is a really genuinely gross thing, and not in like a fun, this show is filth, let's wallow in it way, but in a, this show is filth, oops, oh no.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Bachelor in Paradise, though. Fuck, we're all gonna have a great time this summer.
I love Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, me too.
It's such a like nice break from the high stakes of the Bachelor Bachelorette.
And to then end up in a television monstrosity where more married couples come out of, well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that because there's been some turmoil in the BIP post-marriage family.
Yeah, just because you have a staged wedding in Mexico does not mean that
apparently that shit don't hold up in
will
court.
Continue to be married when you enter the mainland again.
Yeah. So what else happened in...
So we get some time talking to Luke. Luke is still upset about the way things ended. Same with Chase. Chase is also upset. They both say that JoJo helped them learn to love again, which sounds a lot like maybe I'll be the next Bachelor. And then JoJo comes out. JoJo, and this is something I didn't know, Chris Harrison's interviewing JoJo, and she talks about how prior to this, she had never broken up with anyone before.
That's not true.
Explains a little bit, though, if it is true.
She's very good at it, I thought.
No, clearly she was not.
I don't think she was the least decisive,
well, she
main
kept
person
doing
on the
it
show.
at a time that seemed like 3 weeks late. Like, I'm going to keep Alex one more week, and then I'm going to wait.
I mean, if she dumped every dude immediately, like, if she dumped every dude that she thought, I don't like this dude, and they're going to get way too invested, we would have been down to final 2, like, week 3.
Yeah, that's true.
The thirsty bros on this season were just dropping those L-bombs way too early. The one thing about Luke and Chase, I guess, they aren't on BIP, and
they are not.
Both had these convos about, like, I'm ready to find love again.
Yeah.
Which is primo Bachelor positioning.
Yeah.
And I just don't, not either.
Although I will say again, this is the same thing they did with Kayla at the Women Tell All, and then when JoJo got eliminated. So I don't know. It could be Robbie or Jordan.
But that was a 1 episode swing. I will go to my grave saying the final 3 episode of that season, JoJo, like, swept America away.
I know. Well, you don't think it's possible that Robbie or Jordan could do the same?
Oh, fuck no.
I mean, but seriously though, Griff, think about how much can change in an episode on this show.
Okay. No, you're right. We've liked Jordan for large swaths of this season, and I don't see why he can't earn that back. I have a hard time thinking about, unless he gets jilted at the altar, and then, like, has this, like, she broke my heart, I don't know. And then that is how he becomes the next Bachelor. But all the teasers we've seen kind of makes it seem like maybe he leaves of his own volition. I don't know. We can't trust those things.
Yeah,
anyway.
I can't.
I think Jordan would be a fine Bachelor if he wins, man. I don't fucking know. I don't know which one of these dudes.
I just want to real quick say, so JoJo comes on, the guys have an opportunity to close things up. So Luke says, hey, what happened? Seems like everything was really good. JoJo says, oh, something on that last date didn't feel the way I expected to. And Luke's like, well, should I said I loved you earlier? And then JoJo says, oh, well, I like words of affirmation, which apparently is this big love language phenomenon that I heard a lot about, the Huffington Post podcast that I like, Here to Make Friends. They talk about this whole love language phenomenon.
I've not heard any. I've literally never heard of this.
It's everybody has different love languages, and that means that you need different things from relationships.
So hers is like she wants people to tell her.
And so
nice
words
shit all
of
the time?
affirmation is like a big
What's yours?
phrase.
What's yours and what's mine?
I would say my love language.
It's probably just soft pretzels, right?
Yeah, I need a lot of soft pretzels. I need kind of cat-like reflex when it comes to just bad smells in the house.
Yeah.
I need somebody who acts quickly.
I did. You came home, and I apparently have gone nose blind to the stink in the house while you're out in San Antonio,
Yeah.
and you came back, you're like, something stinks, and I was already lighting 3 candles.
Yeah. I think you need somebody, that just does a lot of hand stuff.
Hey, come on. This is internet.
I don't know. I don't think you ask very much of me, actually.
It's probably true. I'm very fiercely independent.
I think that you...
My love language is absolute silence. And soft pretzels. That's the one that, like, that's our bond.
I think that you like adoration.
That's probably true.
And the fact that I laugh at, I would say, about 60% of what you say.
That seems low.
So Chase says, "Hey, why did you bring me the fantasy suite?" And she's like, "Oh, I just didn't have clarity, and maybe I found it at the wrong time." And then James...
There was kind of a thread, I guess, this whole season of her putting off breaking up with dudes until literally the last possible moment.
Yeah, until they felt motivated to say that they loved her, and then she's like, "Oh, whoops."
Like, she was going like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this guy really likes me, this is bad, I can't break up with him now, I'm too nervous to break up with him, this is really bad. And then they say, I love you, and she says, okay, this just reached a whole nother echelon of badness.
Yeah.
Now I have the courage
Now I have to get
it.
out. James Taylor wants to speak, and then he's like, how sometimes when you're like on like an online dating app, and you're like, oh, this one's the prettiest, or this one's the smartest. You gave all of that for us. You were the whole package. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciated it. I'm like,
He
all
was
right.
literally saying, I missed this, I guess. He literally said, like, you were a weird science mashup of looks, brains, humor.
Nowhere in America is there anybody that is attractive and smart and as real as you are. And I just wanted to point that out. And she's like, hey, thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
And then Chad brings in one last shitstorm.
Tries to, though, doesn't he?
Chad's like, hey, so just wanted to say I had a really great time getting to know you, really great experience. I just wish you the best, because we both know Robbie left his ex to go on the show. And, and Jordan just, his own brother won't even talk to him. So, good luck to you.
And the audience is like, woo!
Yeah.
And Judge is like, nah. And Chris Harrison says, you don't want to respond to that? And she says, oh, I really want to go off. And he kind of like motions like, come
We'll
on,
do it.
fucking do it.
Yeah.
And she says, no, like, this is what he does, and he's just here for the attention, and he's not worth it, and I'm not going to give it to him. And that shuts him the fuck up.
It shuts him down. All the guys stand up and applaud. You hear some guys yell, that's our Bachelorette.
And then we had a really nice moment between her and Vinny, where Vinny like asked her a question. She says, "Oh, your beard grew back," and everybody's like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, I should explain. There was one date where I shaved Vinny's beard." And she's like, "Oh, and I should probably like mention Vinny was my best friend in the house. Like we hung out all the time, and I think we both realized like we're just really good friends." And Vinny's like, "Yeah, that's true." That's nice. Why don't we ever get to see that shit?
Well, and then Vinny's mom
And then
stands
Vinny's
up,
mom
which
pops
is really
up.
cute. And was just like, you really missed out, JoJo. Vinny's
He's a
the
really
best.
great guy.
And ladies, he's still single.
It was a really nice moment, and like,
It was nice.
Good Lord, could this season have used
Yeah.
like in any non-Chad character development in the first 6 episodes? I don't know fuck all about Vinny. I don't know anything about Vinny. Except he cuts everybody's hair the same way.
Yeah. Oh, and he did come back to Men Tell All with a new haircut that looks very remarkably similar to Jordan Rogers.
Yeah. It's that, yeah, this season could have used more stuff like that. I feel bad because we were so, we were so into the narrative element that Chad brought to the table.
Well, you have to be, right? Like the show makes...
And but at the time it was because like I didn't think this season could give us anything else entertaining or worth watching. And now I think like they didn't even fucking try. I can't tell you anything about most of those dudes that were up there.
That was one thing Wells said, is he's like, it's a real shame because there's a lot of good guys in this house that you just never got to know because we were just all talking about Chad.
Well, and we could have had it tonight during Men Tell All.
I know.
But then like 70% of it was the Chad show.
Men Tell Chad.
The Chad tells Chad. It was just fucking gross, man. Like,
It was rough. It felt like watching like Jerry Springer or Maury or something. It felt like a talk show that was designed specifically to like rile up the audience.
and the way, and I don't want to harp on this, but like the way that ABC triumphed this shithead, this harmful piece of garbage, and like gave him this superstar treatment and these cinematic breakouts.
Well,
like,
you're saying it like it's past tense, but hey, he's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise, which starts next week.
next fucking week.
So
Yeah.
saddle up.
So yeah, next week we should figure this out. Next week, Monday, the finale, the 3-hour
finale on Monday, and then Tuesday, Bachelor in Paradise premieres.
So what do you think? The first 2 hours is the like stuff.
The stuff, and then after the final rose,
will be the final hour.
Yeah.
You think we find out Bachelor, or you think they're going to hold on?
they might hold off. It depends how the season ends.
It's really 50-50, gang. Like,
They very rarely now announce it after the final rose because I think they want to see where America goes.
yeah. They might though. We don't know.
Yeah.
So that'll be Monday, and then maybe we got to do the finale episode then. Right?
Yeah. I think we're talking about maybe recording one Monday night and one Tuesday night because
Your cup overfloweth.
we can't combine
With
the
our
end of one
sucre.
season with Pip with our sucre.
We're here to apply a healing salve to your goof wounds.
Oh man.
So then, yeah, I think we might do 2 episodes next week. What the fuck ever. We don't have anything else going on.
Yeah.
That's not true at all.
We have a lot going on.
We have so much shit going on.
But we love you guys.
Yeah.
And we love each other.
Want to mention one thing. So the Facebook group is popping off. Go get up on the Rose Buddies Facebook group. We're going to try and be better about spoilers. Because this past week there was some stuff that went, I mean, the people who got sent home, got posted like before the show even aired on the West Coast, which is like, I am 50-50 about spoilers on the internet,
Yeah.
like whose responsibility it is. But if it's at a point where people living in an entire section of the country literally could not have watched it yet, I think that's too soon to
and
be
I
doing
want
it.
to take some responsibility for that. I have to approve all those posts, and I just kind of didn't think about the time difference.
Yeah.
And
also,
we didn't have a policy really either,
Yeah.
and so I didn't know how to reject without kind of
it's also easy to forget that like Facebook is so shitty about the way that it just like
and that
surfaces things.
even if you didn't come to the group, it showed up
It
in
just
your
shows up in your newsfeed, and it was like there was one that was a picture that was very, very funny. That was comparing the 3 remaining contestants to
the Hamilton,
Angelica, Eliza, and Peggy. It was very, very good.
Yeah.
But it also like instantly at a single glance gave away what happened in the episode. And if it popped up in your Facebook newsfeed, I get being bummed out about that.
So I think we decided that we are going to wait until the following day.
Yeah, just if you can hold on to it till the morning.
We'll
and
still have a live discussion thread.
definitely want to get that live discussion thread. I popped into that and watched it for a while during the Men Tell All tonight, and it's just like a real time like comment section, just like
So we'll have that.
it's so good. So like all the conversation you have there, and then we're just gonna wait one morning. And
But
then,
yeah, as far as unique posts that are very specific to things that just happen, we're not going to post those. And my thought, instead of developing a queue of a bunch of posts that I have to approve the next day, if you try and post a spoiler the night of the show, I'm probably just going to delete it. Because I don't want to have like a queue of 50 posts the next morning that I have to go through and approve all now that 24 hours has passed.
Just hold off one day.
Yeah.
Hold on for one more day. Are we gonna? Here's the Griffin and Rachel harmony moment of this episode of the podcast.
Griffin, you said you wouldn't do this to me anymore.
They'll know that there is change.
Wait, when am I harmonizing here?
For one more day, you gotta break free from the chains. I guess we could just do the verse. I don't know why I jumped into the fucking bridge of Hold On.
Yeah, this is not typically where people harmonize, I don't think.
Someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye.
I don't want to do it anymore. You called me out so hard last
Tell
time.
that baby that you're gonna let her hold it down and make you cry. How can you not harmonize with this? There's people like bumping this in their car right now, like harmonizing to every word. Don't you know? Things will change. Things will go your way.
I just figured out what one of my love languages is, Griffin.
Is it me harmony shaming you? Or is it me singing songs in the style of Aaron Neville, which for some reason is like 100% of
No, that's not your Aaron Neville. There it is. There it is.
Break free from the chain. There's that 60% of jokes.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. We have a P.O. box. If you want to send us stuff, it's P.O. Box 66639, Austin, Texas 78766. I think everybody's been sending us very kind postcards and baby gifts and stuff like that. It's very, very sweet. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Nope.
Have we talked about McElroy shows? There's a whole, if you like us, there's other McElroys like us that also do podcasts.
Yeah, I just kind of assume that our audience listens to the other stuff,
That
but
might
maybe
not
they
be
don't.
true. McElroyshows.com has all the podcasts that the McElroy family does. That includes shows that I do, like My Brother and Me, and The Adventure Zone. But there's shows like
None of the other shows make you watch a television show, so maybe if you need a break.
Other than Losing the Sheen, which used to, the short-lived but fucking brilliant experiment in television criticism, Losing the Sheen, and Satellite Dish. Anyway, Justin and Sydney do a really great show called Sawbones. It's a medical history comedy show that's fucking fantastic. Travis and Teresa do a show called Schmanners, where
Which
they talk
is
about
so
Schmanners.
charming.
It's so,
It's just a very
it's so
charming,
good.
sweet show.
There's like 20 podcasts that we do in this family, and I'm very proud of our family. And
it's a good empire.
yeah, McElroyshows.com. Anything else, baby?
Nope,
We'll
that's
see you
all
next.
I got.
See you next week.
We'll see you a couple times next week.
For a double header. Until then, I'm Griffin McElroy.
I'm Rachel McElroy.
When you're ready.
Rose. Stay with us on this journey of joy.
Spoiler alert.
She ends up with Soldier Boy.
Right reasons, can't be good.